Cruising is Life podcast. Whether you're a seasoned cruiser or just starting out, we have something for everyone. So sit back, relax, and get ready to set sail with us on the Cruising is Life podcast.
Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome back to the Cruising is Life podcast. Welcome back for another episode. Today we are reviewing The Wonder of the Seas. I actually got a message earlier saying, did you mean to say Harmony? Because of course, as some of you may know, we just returned from Harmony of the Seas. But we're waiting for Caleb to actually return from his second cruise, as he was the one that sailed with me on that cruise. But he is actually on Harmony for a second round within the first 3 sailings of it even being in Canaveral. So we're waiting on him before we get that Harmony one out. But while we were on board the Harmony of the Seas, our good friend Tyler here was on Wonder. So he's here and joining us again, and we're going to talk all about his experience on Wonder of the Seas. So welcome back. How's it going, buddy?
It's going well. I hope everyone else is doing well here on this Wednesday.
Absolutely. So yeah, I briefly kind of briefed you on this before we started, but of course, as always with these reviews, starting this year, we've done 10 categories, 10 points each. It gives us a score out of 100. So the mobile app and checking in through the app, embarkation day check-in, service, food, layout and condition, activities, entertainment, the ports you visited, the room itself, ship spotting, which is our little nerd category here for us, and then of course debark. So we'll run through each of those today and kind of touch on each one and kind of see how you liked the Wonder of the Seas.
Absolutely. And folks, we are monitoring the chat in real time. So if you have any questions about the Wonder of the Seas, I'll be happy to answer those in real time when they roll into the studio. But yeah, let's get started there. Let's talk about the first category, which is the pre-boarding experience, not at the terminal, right, but beforehand, check-in and all of that stuff. In terms of that, I'll give you my rating right off the bat. I'll give it about an 8. Royal Caribbean app is always very seamless to use, so really no complaints there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know what else you can really say in terms of feedback. I mean, the app always has things to improve. I noticed there's always some bug, but I mean, it's usually gone within the day. And that's the one thing that's really interesting is there always seems to be a bug embarkation day, especially when it comes to checking into the ship.
Yeah.
There's always something that either the app doesn't pull up or something. So that's kind of the only reason I give it an 8. I mean, other than that, the Royal Caribbean app is pretty solid.
Absolutely. We've mentioned it on previous reviews and things like that, but we kind of hold Royal's app to like the gold standard. That's kind of like what we, compare everything to, whether it's Norwegian's, Carnival's, MSC's apps, they're always compared to Royal's because Royal's app is typically the best one and always seems to be working properly, and just kind of everything is so smooth and seamless throughout their app. So it's always nice to have that peace of mind with their stuff.
And the app is really well put together. I think it's, like as you said, it's the gold standard in terms of cruise industry apps. I've played around with some of the other ones, and yeah, I mean, Royal Caribbean by far is the perfect app. I mean, it's the cool thing too is on these newer ships, the app does more. So like you can control your TV from the app, and you can do all this stuff through the app, which is really cool. Again, on the older ships, not so much, but on like the Wonder, you can control the TV, and even on the newer ships, I heard you can turn on and off the cabin lights. I haven't been on the Icon, but maybe you know something about that, Brandon, in terms of the app integration to the ship.
So it's funny you say that. I've been on both Icons, and this is the first time ever hearing something like that. That's interesting. I will have to try that on Legend. When I sail on Legend here in about 2 months, I 100% have to try that now. I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah, I believe, I'm not sure how much in terms of like the power of the cabin, but I know for a fact you can control the TV and all that stuff. I think some of the ships too, you can open the shades, but again, I don't know. That's some of the things I can see online, so.
Pretty crazy.
But yeah, that's pretty much for that category. What's next, Brandon? We said next category was check-in experience, or?
So to your point of like sometimes there's always the hiccup on embarkation day. The nice part is that you mentioned that. So the nice part is that you can usually add the boarding pass to the Apple Wallet or the Google Wallet. Is it the Google Wallet is what you Android users
Yes, us Android users, we use the Google Wallet.
Yes, so there is a feature within the app once you have your boarding pass, you can actually add that to your Apple Wallet or your Google Wallet. And then even in the off chance that the app doesn't work on embarkation day, you have it sitting in your Apple Wallet and you just have it there for you. So even in that case, so that's another peace of mind thing, and just kind of everything is so smooth and seamless through Royal Caribbean's app experience, which is always really nice.
Absolutely. I mean, there's always the hack too. This is what I always do because you never know what inside the terminal buildings. They all have Wi-Fi, but sometimes they
Right.
don't. So sometimes I take a screenshot of the boarding pass. But that's something I've
That works too.
learned from all my traveling recently in the past few years in terms of flying and things like that. Always just take a screenshot of your boarding pass, whether that's airline, cruise ship, train, you name it, whatever form of transportation it is, just in case you don't have connectivity, you still have that boarding pass there to show. So that's a little hack, but I mean, it's again just kind of common sense at this point. But yeah, I mean,
Right.
Royal Caribbean app works great, as you said.
Right. And so you mentioned, what was it, an 8 out of 10, you would say?
Yeah, I would give it an 8 out of 10. Again, I think
Okay.
there are some things to improve on, but it's like, at the same time, it's like some of those issues are kind of just like spur of the moment, like they get fixed eventually. Maybe it was just a
Right.
faulty,
Could
connectivity
be a
in the
Wi-Fi
terminal.
connection, that type of thing.
Right, again. So there's
Okay.
always room for improvement, right? So I'll give it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. And before we move on to the next category here, just kind of give us a background of your cruise in itself. We know you sailed on Wonder. Where did it go? Where'd you sail from? How many days? All that jazz.
So this cruise departed August 10th from the port of Miami on board the Wonder of the Seas, Terminal A. We departed there and we headed to Coco Cay. And now this one was a very special cruise. It is a 4-night sailing. That is the Monday to Friday sailing. Now the reason it is a special sailing is the way our ports usually crumble. Typically the ports will be Coco, Nassau, Sea Day at the end. Our cruise was interesting because we had our sea day in the middle. So we had Monday Miami, Tuesday Coco Cay, sea day on Wednesday, Thursday in Nassau, and then back to Miami early Friday morning for disembarkation.
All right. Very cool. Very cool. So yeah, so when you said you did go to Nassau, is that right?
We did go to Nassau on this
Okay.
cruise, so
So what did you do in Nassau? Anything special or just kind of the normal ship spotting stuff?
yeah, pretty much the normal ship spotting with that is a whole bunch of nothing. Just stay out on the ship pretty much for the most part and chill. Next time we'll go to Nassau, we'll go to the Royal Beach Club, but this
I'm
time
looking
no,
forward to
just kind of
that.
stayed and chilled on the ship. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it as well.
We thought about booking that last minute, but we decided against it. I think Caleb is going to do that. I think when he goes on Allure in a few weeks, but yeah, it looks really cool. They look like they're having a blast over there. I see all the videos coming from Royal Beach Club and all that, so I really definitely want to check all that out.
Yeah, I mean that's something I'm looking forward to trying in October is Royal Beach Club. It looks really cool. Like you can hear it from my balcony cabin on the Wonder
Mhm.
of the Seas. We'll talk about the room in a later category, but I mean
Yeah,
it was crazy. I was in bed and you can still hear the music through the ship, which this
that's
ship is very
crazy.
soundproof. I mean
Yeah,
it was bumping. I mean yeah, it's technically pretty close to the ship, but still,
yeah.
I mean unbelievable from the looks of it. I'm looking forward to checking it out. And from what I've seen, Brandon, Royal Caribbean has knocked it out of the park, and I'm hoping to see it in person and confirm it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
And then Coco Cay, obviously I was there as well, which was really cool. But how was Coco Cay? What did we do? And
Coco Cay. Yeah, let's talk about it. That was awesome. Was the best part of the whole day was hanging out with this guy right here and his partner in crime on the cruise, Mr. Caleb Cruise Ship Media. It was a great time we spent a good bit of time, probably the most time I spent on Coco in a while.
yeah,
It was super fun. We had a great time off the ship. We enjoyed the Oasis Lagoon pool, which I got to say, that was probably the most refreshing part of the day with the heat. It was kind of unbearable if there wasn't the Oasis Lagoon pool or the ocean to dive into, right? But we spent probably about an hour in the pool, and wow, it
Yeah.
still is amazing just how awesome that pool is, and the fact it's free. Like it's cool.
Hmm.
Like the only bad part, like we talked about, is the fact that they got rid of the DJ. I kind of missed that part of the pool. I get why they did it
Yeah.
because they moved it to the hideaway where it's like a beach party. But at the same time, that was a cool thing. It was a little more lively of an experience back in the day, but still a fun time there in the Oasis Lagoon pool. Did you have a good time? I think you did, but did you?
Yeah, it was a good time. For those who don't know, so I recently sailed on Harmony of the Seas with Caleb, who is another frequent appearance here on the channel. Cruise Ship Media is who he is on all social media platforms. So him and I were sailing on Harmony, and about a couple days before we left on board Harmony of the Seas, we found out here that Tyler was going to be on Wonder, and upon looking at the schedule, lo and behold, we were going to be docked with Wonder of the Seas in Coco Cay. So it was really cool, just random different ships, randomly being on different ships, just randomly booked. This wasn't coordinated type of thing. And it was like, oh my gosh, we're going to be, inside the friend group, everything like that. It still ends up on a cruise at the same time and in the same ports at the same time, which is really
Yeah,
funny.
which again is super rare because, as I said earlier, Wonder usually doesn't go to Coco in that order. Like typically,
Yeah.
it doesn't work out. So we got a super
Yes.
chat in the chat. Thank you so much. We see it.
Thank you,
Heading
Dante.
to
Really appreciate
Jetstream,
you,
we
buddy.
appreciate it, bro. We do appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. And that'll transition us into our next category here, though, is the embarkation check-in. So this is outside of the app, just the actual check-in day, boarding day process. From
Yes.
how'd you get there? And, was it Miami Madhouse? Was it actually relaxed? And, how was the process in general?
Yeah, as you said, let's go ahead and rewind. Let's start my morning, what time I started. We're going to walk you through the whole thing, give you the shorter, condensed version. Of course, I have a video coming out this Friday on my channel explaining the more nitty-gritty, but more or less got up at around 05:30 here in Orlando, was at the Brightline train station, took the Brightline down to the port of Miami. Our train left at 7:20, showed up to the terminal at Orlando at 0700 hours, and hopped on the train, headed down. We had premium on the way down, which is equivalent, or Brightline's equivalent to first class, and it's impressive,
Fancy.
Brandon. I'm not sure if you've done it yet, but it's pretty nice.
I have
you
not
done
done
first
premium
class?
yet. My
Yeah.
sister does it all the time because she's just bougie like that, but I have not done it. It's usually
Yeah.
a lot easier for her because she does the shorter trips because she's down that
Right.
direction. But yeah, I have not tried it yet, but I definitely want to.
Yeah, it's pretty nice on the long haul, especially if it's later in the day, when you can enjoy more of the amenities. And the first thing in the
Yeah.
morning, I wouldn't get it. I mean, the snack and you don't get any of the drinks really that even make it worth the money. So it's kind of like, okay, it was really nice though. I mean, it was like flying first class on Delta Airlines, for example. But long story short, uneventful trip down to Miami, got into the station on time, 10:45, and once we took arrival to the station in Miami, we got an Uber down to the ship. Now, we didn't reserve it in the app. That's a tip I will give to each and every single one of you. Go ahead and you can reserve or schedule your Uber in the Uber app, and that will save you not only time, but also it could save you some money too by locking in at a lower price. So we had to wait about 20 minutes on the curb in Miami for our Uber to arrive, but once we did that, it was, I don't know. You've done that drive many times. It's probably 5-10 minutes to the terminal in Miami. It is super quick.
Right. Actually, that's funny. I didn't know that was a thing. Is that a premium feature, being able to book your Ubers through the Brightline app, or is that a standard thing? I've never seen that actually.
That's something you can do for anything through the Uber app. So if you want to go to the airport, if you want to go somewhere, you can go ahead and reserve it in the app. Typically, it works best if you have another mode of transportation you're connecting to. For example, I flew from Orlando to Houston, back to Galveston, and I had to be there at a certain time. My ship was leaving, so I had to get there at a
Right.
certain time. So I was kind of worried about that. I was like, what if I can't get an Uber in time and all that stuff? But you can go ahead and go in the Uber app. It's not a premium feature. You can schedule your Uber. Say,
Oh.
okay, my flight's going to land at this time.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and pick me up at this time. And a cool thing too is Uber in the software will monitor your train or your flight, and if there's a delay, it will adjust accordingly with your driver. So that's a really cool feature. And when I talk to the Uber drivers too, they love it because they know, okay, I have this trip scheduled, I can pick this up at this time and be done with this. So they kind of
Yeah.
have a way to plan their day. So that's a really cool tip too. And if you don't want to take an Uber, you can take a taxi. I will say it is very pricey, but it is efficient in terms of you don't have to wait. You can just go ahead and get right on to the ship without having to wait.
Okay, so this is an Uber app feature, not a Brightline feature.
Correct. You can. I know
God, I thought you
Brightline
were
has
mentioning
connections. No, my apologies for that, but
Brightline.
it is Brightline does offer some connections. I don't know what
Okay.
they are. We didn't utilize them. We just took
Yeah.
the Uber.
Okay, gotcha. So 10, 15-minute ride over to the port, and then Wonder sails out of Terminal A in Miami, the crown of Miami. How was the terminal process? Was it crazy? Did it take forever to even get there? How was that part
As
of it
I
all?
said, it was again Miami traffic is absolute bonkers, but again some of the local was driving, so we got there pretty quick. But it is unbelievable just how many people that terminal can flow through. I mean, the terminal was mobbed
Yeah,
from the outside. Like I was like, oh man, this is gonna take a good minute.
yeah.
We do have the Royal Caribbean One credit card, which is the X one, which is like their premium, and that gets you, as of right now, gets you Suite and Pinnacle uh, check-in. And oh my word, Brandon, if you've never done it in Miami, it is unbelievable. And the simple fact is, you have your own elevator to the top, you have your own private security screening, unlike
Oh,
Port
wow.
Canaveral, where you are technically private screening, but you kind of at
Yeah.
the end merge with everyone else. You have your own way, and the best part too is you have your own gangway too, which is, yeah. We were on the
Oh,
ship from the moment I got out of the Uber to the time we were on the ship was 5 minutes. It was, I mean, you can't beat it. Galveston, which is
wow.
supposedly the fastest in the nation, at 11 minutes, still had nothing on Port of Miami. Five
Interesting.
minutes. Yeah,
Interesting.
unbelievable.
I did not. Know Galveston had that record.
And I can see a good comment in the chat. If you're a local, Turnpike is pretty nice drive down there. At those big rest stops between the lanes. Of course, it starts getting crazy when you get to the city. Exactly to that
Hmm.
point, that's what we wanted to avoid, because that's why I don't go cruise out of Miami too much. Is the drive down there is unbelievable. Like it
Yeah.
is just unbelievable in a bad way, right? It's just
Yeah.
crazy. Like it's not bad once you get to like Palm Beach, and then but once you get on 95, it is like crazy. Like oh my word, especially once
Yeah.
you get past Fort Lauderdale. I hate that part of the drive.
Yeah. The drive to Miami is usually pretty easy, pretty simple. Drive through Miami is the hard part. That usually takes a little bit longer, than just going through all the other major cities. But yes,
That
it
is
is a good
spot
point.
on.
It is. We definitely, and part of it is you save a little bit of money on parking as well. You have to pay to park at the Brightline station, but at the same time, you know, and of course you have to pay to take the train and all that. So offsets each other and or kind of counterbalances each other there. But you can have the peace of mind of once you step on that train or once you park your car at the airport here in Orlando, you don't have to do any more driving for like the next couple days.
That is
You
a
don't
nice
have to deal
part
with all the
about it.
traffic.
I,
It's a local and driving your Uber that's going to have to deal with all the traffic. You just get to sit back in the back seat of the Uber and just kind of relax.
that's the best part about the whole experience with Brightline is as soon as you get on the train, it is a vacation because you can do work and stuff on the way down, but it is pretty
Yeah.
much you can just forget about things because someone else is driving. You
Hmm.
have internet the whole way down. It's very relaxing. It's not like driving down in the car and you're just like, oh man. It's not a
Yeah.
bad drive, like as you said, it's not a bad drive from Orlando to Miami. But once you get when you have to go through it to the port, oh man, honking on
Yeah.
the horns immediately, people cutting you off, flipping you off. It's terrible. I'm
Yeah.
yeah, right line all the way. That's where I'm at. It's worth the money.
Absolutely. And then, so do you remember, did you happen to like time yourself? Do you know roughly how long it took for you to get from drop off to the ship itself for the embarkation
As I
process?
said, Brandon, 5 minutes, and I kid you
5
not, 5
minutes. That's
minutes to the dot.
crazy.
I mean, it was ridiculous. Like again, I walked
That's
in the
impressive.
terminal and you see all the for the like the typical security screening, you see
Hmm.
the lines, people looped back and forth, and I was like, oh, okay, so it's gonna probably take like 10 to 15 minutes, maybe 20. Oh,
Hmm.
as soon as we hit that suite and priority check-in, we were on the ship in less than 5 minutes, and then to the muster
Awesome.
station, add another five. So I think by the time I had my muster drill done, it was 10 minutes from the time I got to the curb to the time I said, okay, you're good to go, and cruise
Wow.
was officially on. Yeah,
That's
unbelievable.
impressive. It's very impressive. So score out of 10 for embarkation here.
You know what? I guess a 10. I know.
10.
I
All
mean,
right.
I don't
We
know
love it.
how else you can get a higher score. Like, I mean, 5 minutes. I mean, come on.
I I don't think it's honestly possible to do any better than 5 minutes. I mean,
No.
at some point it's just a walking speed. Maybe if you're at a full sprint with your luggage, maybe you can do 2 minutes. But 5 minutes is pretty impressive, and that's hard to beat.
It is. It was ridiculous.
Absolutely. And so transitioning on to our next one here is the service on board. This goes from restaurants, bars, the buffet, um, I guess the room steward services, things like that.
Yeah, so again, I'm pretty, graceful with my grading in terms of service because I, understand how everything operates. But I'm not looking for absolute yes sir anything you want. I mean,
Hmm.
like I'm pretty reasonable of a person. A room steward was outstanding. Absolutely no complaints there. I did notice in general, which this is kind of part of the 3 and 4 night cruises. You can tell the crew is a lot wear down. They're just a lot more okay. They're
Yeah.
not really the woo you see on some of the 7 night sailings.
Yeah.
But that's probably the only complaint. So for that, I'll give him like a 9 in terms of crew in general. But I mean, I had no complaints this cruise. Like I've met like maybe two people that I had an issue with. Even that, it was just maybe it was just they had an off day. So I give it about a 9. Like there's service wise, outstanding.
Gotcha. Very nice. Very nice. It's good to hear. So service will get a 9, which
Got a,
transitions us into food, which I
got a
see a
question in the
question.
chat.
I was going to
Yep.
say the question here regarding food is if Royal does the buffet for breakfast in the main dining room. So it's not necessarily the buffet, but there is the breakfast option in the main dining room. It's just a sit down experience, essentially. But the basics omelets, eggs, hash browns, pancakes, things like that. So it's not a buffet, but it is the sit down restaurant type of experience. But it is free, so it's always nice. But tell us about the food. Did you go to any specialty restaurants? The buffet, how was the buffet? And just all these Royal Caribbean ships really tout themselves on how many different dining options they have. Um, so, yeah, tell us all about it.
Well, I can tell you this is a fact, Brandon. I did not step foot in the main dining room or the Windjammer at all this cruise. That's because we had the ultimate dining package and we had a taste of every specialty dining on board the Wonder of the Seas. And
Wow.
because of that, I'm going to give you my review. Are we allowed to do half points? Can we do it 8.5? Is
Sure.
that possible? Okay, we'll do it
We'll do a
8.5 for specialty. We'll get it out of the way. And then let me tell you why I give it that 8.5. So on this cruise, we went to Chops Grill. We went to Hooked Seafood. We went to Izumi, not hibachi, just normal sushi. We
Okay.
went to Johnny Rockets for breakfast, which is free. You can, if you're not have the ultimate dining package or go to
Yeah.
any specialty restaurants for money, you can go there for free. We had that for breakfast one day, so that was really good. So we went to Johnny Rockets, we went to Playmakers. Went also to 150 Central Park, which was my first time there. A very interesting restaurant. Have you ever been to 150 Central Park?
I have not, and that was going to be one of the things as I ask about that because I've always been curious about that restaurant because it seems just
Yeah.
the same as Chops, but even more fancy. So I'm definitely gonna pick your brain a little bit about that, just like like what they do to differentiate themselves. Is it just a different steakhouse, or is it like actually just completely different type of venue than Chops?
Yeah, I would consider Chops your more traditional American steakhouse. This would be
Okay.
more of like as you said, more of an upscale steakhouse. I don't really know what to compare it to in terms of here on land. Maybe some really bougie place. Like it was basically your traditional dishes. Like on the menu, you'd be like, I don't know if I really like that. And then you get it, and you're like, oh, it's this dish, but it's called something that you're not, used to.
Gotcha.
But it was really good. I mean, It wasn't like the best. I think chops was better in terms of steak, but it was still good
Okay.
food. The cut was a little more, even though it was a more tender and less fatty cut. There was a little bit of fat in the steak, but that's a little nitpicky. Everything else was amazing. We
Yeah.
had this lobster, and it's interesting is it's not traditional lobster, and the fact that it's not like boiled and then you just pull it out. It's like boiled and then they stuff it with this like creamy sauce, and then put it back inside the lobster. It's a really unique dish.
Interesting.
So yeah,
Interesting.
that was probably the most interesting thing. They used to do this thing. I know I saw it online back in the day where if you went to 150, they got really famous for they would come to your table and make like the Caesar salad, and they would
Oh,
make like cocktails in front of you. Yeah, we saw
cool.
none of that this cruise. So, and I asked the waiter like, "What's the deal with that?" They said they discontinued that because it added extra work for everybody involved, which I get. I'm not sitting there
Yeah.
trying to say, "Oh, I wanted to see you make." No, I could care less. As
Yeah.
long as the food is good. So the food was really
Yeah.
good. So that's kind of my uh, opinions there. I will say this: like the dessert was pretty lackluster. It was kind of funny. It was like fried cheesecake, and it was like so small, and like we ended up going to Playmakers and getting the ultimate sundae.
That's so good. I
What?
had that on Star.
Yes,
Super good. That's the one out of the helmet, right?
yes, yes.
That one's
Had the
super good.
helmet right over there off camera.
Yeah. And so, kind of piggybacking off the question that's in our chat here is, so how much was the dining package, and how, like, is it truly unlimited with that ultimate dining package? I know you can buy specific days, things like that, but like with the ultimate package, like, is it truly unlimited, or, and then if you don't mind disclosing how much, it is for
Yeah,
something like that,
absolutely.
at least,
Yep.
on a nightly basis, because I know that'll vary for the length of the cruise.
Yeah, so let's add also to your question. Let's add to a question we have there in the chat. It says, "How do you get those packages like the Ultimate Dining Package?" I ever see on the website that add-ons like dining time, prepaid gratuities, and travel insurance. So to answer your question, Brandon, and the question in the chat, so you go ahead and you book this in advance on the Royal Caribbean app or website in your cruise planner. And when you go ahead and book that, that's where you save your money. So we paid, I think, if I recall, it was like $150 for the cruise, maybe a little higher, a little lower. I'm not exactly sure. It was
Yeah.
a while ago we paid for it, but the tip is you have to watch it because if you pay full price, like you don't get any of their sales, you're gonna pay. You're gonna be at a loss. They're gonna make money
Yeah.
off of you. But if you get it, like we got a 45% discount when we
Yeah.
got the ultimate dining package for this cruise, which is common. Like that's the tip for the dining package. I would go get it on your sailing if it's on sale for 30 to 45%. If it's not, do the math. Like look at the restaurants on your ship. So like Chops Grill, for example, is
Hmm.
$60, $65 a meal. Same with um, 150 Central Park. Hooked is a little bit lower.
Hmm.
Again, look at the restaurants on the ship and kind of do the math and figure out, okay, so if I want to go to this restaurant, that restaurant, how much would it cost to eat alone? Because from the ultimate dining package, it's not unlimited food, but you get every night you get a dinner that's
Okay.
covered. And then you go ahead on your embarkation day, and then most days during your cruise, you get lunch at a specialty dining. So, like embarkation day, there's some of the restaurants that are open, like we had it at Giovanni's. That's part of
Okay.
your dining package.
Yeah.
On sea days, that's also you get a lunch as well. And if your cruise
Okay.
doesn't have a sea day, like we talked to some of the waiters on this cruise because it's a shorter sailing, they open up in Nassau. They open up one of the specialty dining restaurants. So if you're
Okay.
on the ship, you can enjoy that. And then the other thing too is you also get a credit for playmakers and I believe Johnny Rockets of $20 a day. So that's the unlimited part. So if you're
Oh,
hungry
cool.
throughout the day, like if you're like, oh, I need some food, you can go to Playmakers and I believe Johnny Rockets. I haven't been to Johnny Rockets, so I don't know if it's with the package. So I don't know if it's
Yeah.
covered in the $20 or if that counts as your dinner or lunch. But I know for a fact Playmakers you get $20 a day on top of it. So like as I said earlier, we went to 150 and I wasn't really happy with the dessert. So I said to my buddy, I said, let's go down and get the touchdown sundae at Playmakers. And sure enough, we got
It was
both
included.
desserts and the campfire cookie. Yep, $20 per
Wow.
person, too, per person. So if you have,
Okay.
you know, two people in your cabin, that's $40 you get to spend. And $40 at Playmakers brand, it gets you a lot of food.
Oh yeah, for sure. And these packages that you can purchase, this is after you book the cruise in itself. Unfortunately, you're not able to just kind of browse the Royal Caribbean website to see what
Nope.
these numbers are. Once you book the cruise, then you can go in because the prices do vary per sailing as well. Usually per night. Also, sometimes the newer ships a little bit more expensive because they're going to market the new ships. They're going to make the money off the new ships, things like that. But it usually varies from ship to ship, port to port, things like that. So typically you have to book the cruise first before you can see any of this. And then, yeah. But
Yeah,
to
to add to
to
your
your point as
point, yeah.
well as yeah, so to your point as well though, always look for those pre-cruise deals though, because I would say, and this goes for dining, Wi-Fi, like literally anything that you're going to purchase on the cruise. Check the Royal app, or or just any cruise line really, but Royal specifically. You can go in and make these purchases beforehand, and usually until about 2 days beforehand is when you can make these reservations. And I would say 95% of the time, they're running some sort of sale, whether it's, I think I've seen it as low as 5% off, but usually like for these internet and dining packages, like you said, they're running anywhere between 30 to 45% off most of the time before the cruise.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was going to go ahead and make, is make sure you go ahead and browse those packages, like the internet on board. Like, I didn't really think I was going to need it until I knew you were going on the cruise and my buddy who works on the ship was there. So like, okay,
Hmm.
I need the internet the entire cruise, and
Yeah.
I didn't look ahead of time in the app, or in the website, I should say, to look and see if I can find the package. And I wish I did, because internet was quite pricey. Where I probably could have
Hmm.
saved some money if I got the package beforehand.
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, and again, it's they're almost always running some sort of deal, and especially around the holidays, they're definitely going to up the percent of what they give you off. So definitely try to make the reservations ahead of time if you can, because you will 100% save money. It just depends on how much. Um, but if you're seeing even like a 10% off, even then, if you want to take advantage of the 10%, you can. I would say likely chance that you're going to find probably even a 30% once a holiday rolls around too. So that's always something good to keep in mind. You'll definitely save yourself some money booking these specialty dining experiences, and other things through the app first before you get on.
And to add to that, the best thing about cruises, right, is you can always try to get that money reduced. So if you book the package and the
Mhm.
package goes down, you can call, or no, typically if you have a package, you rebook it, you just cancel and rebook. But if
Mhm.
it's like a room you book and it goes down in price, you can always call and try to get that price either refunded to you, onboard credit, or something like that. So
Yeah,
always make sure you're watching the price, because you could save some money.
absolutely. And so that'll transition us into our next one here. So food got an 8.5, just to kind of refresh there before we move on. But the layout and condition of the ship, Wonder is, she is coming up on 4 years old now. She's coming up on her first major dry dock, I think, next year as far as the 5-year schedule. So she's going to be, she's not old, but she's definitely getting close to that point where she's going to need a dry dock soon. So how has she aged over the last 4 years, or first 4 years in service, really? And then, is she still just like new, or, has she been abused over the last couple of years?
Yeah, so I've sailed. This is my third time on the Wonder. So I sailed her when she was in her first year of operation, when she was went up to Port Canaveral after her season in the Med. And I gotta say, seeing how the ship progresses, you can tell that the ship needs to go to dry dock. And it's not in the fact that I'm gonna give it a low rating. It's like some of the rust, like they're in really weird spots. Like for
Oh,
example,
really?
that big one of the differences with the Wonder, right, is the fact they add that TV screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And on the pool deck, and they have with the suites, they have all this area now with a lot more metal versus the other Oasis class ships. It's not doesn't look the same.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big spot of rust, and they can't really get it
Oh,
with a brush. But it's
yeah.
not like, again, I'm not giving it like a lot of points off. Like, this ship is no, it's just a little bit of discoloration, if you will. But the rest of the ship
Right.
is still amazing, considering it's 5 years old. You wouldn't be able to tell that.
Right.
There's not much wear and tear. Like, it is a really well run ship in terms of maintenance and stuff. So I'm giving
Yeah.
that the same rating I would have gave the food, which is 8.5. 8.5.
8.5.
Because
All right.
I would have gave it a 9, but like as I said, that big rust spot that I still can't unsee.
Just the rust spot. Okay. Mr. Critic here. Mr. Critic here.
Yeah, again, I'm not. Again,
Um,
as I said.
But no, to your point, I mean, the ship has been amazing. I mean, I sailed on Wonder back in November. I've been on her twice, once out of Port Canaveral, once out of Miami, doing a 3-night sailing versus, your 4. But, the ship, even back then, the ship felt amazing. Both times I sailed, it was around her 1-year mark is when I sailed on Wonder, and then, of course, just recently. So she still felt the same both times, relatively new. I mean, again, and honestly, she's one of my favorite ships as well. So, she always in good shape. It seems like the Oasis class, but especially the newer Oasis class, they definitely take a little extra good care of them as well.
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean, that was the funny thing. So I was on the Utopia 2 weeks prior to this, and Utopia is a little bit newer by like a year or so. And
Yeah.
again, besides that one spot I saw of discoloration, you couldn't tell the difference. I mean, they're again, like in terms of maintenance wise, the Wonder looks pretty much like, I wouldn't say new out of the yard because that's not true, but
Yeah.
she looks pretty good condition. Like there's not
Yeah.
major wear and tear like I saw in like the Mariner. That's 20 years old though. So again,
Yeah.
I think she'll start getting there when she gets to like 10, 15. But yeah, I'm kind of glad she's going to dry dock because there are some spots that definitely need some, recarpets and all that stuff. But for the most part, she looks still
Absolutely.
good.
Very good. That's good to hear. So that'll move us on to our next category here, though, which is activities and entertainment. This goes from entertainment being, of course, all the main production shows, AquaTheater, Royal Theater, Studio B, ice skating, all the way to things like the Flow Rider, which I know is your personal favorite,
Oh
the water
yeah.
slides, and all sorts of the Ultimate Abyss, everything throughout the ship when it comes to activities and entertainment.
Okay, activities and entertainment on the Wonder. This cruise was really chill for me. I didn't go ahead. I've seen every show on the ship, so that was not
Okay.
seen at all on this cruise. But again, I still can tell you, in terms of entertainment, the ship is
Yeah.
really hit and miss. I think the Aqua Show is unbelievable. I think it's
Yes.
arguably the best Aqua Show Royal Caribbean has in terms of the music and everything. However, there's some other shows on the ship where I would say, that's a really terrible show, and they should be ashamed of themselves for having this.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, I'll say it that much. Like, they have this show
Yeah.
called Voices on the ship, and
Oh, that was on
right
Harmony.
there,
That was
that
on
is a
Harmony.
slap
Caleb and
to
I
the
walked
face.
out.
Yeah,
Ca-
it's that they should be ashamed of themselves that they sit there and call this a show that they're proud of. Like,
Mhm.
like, give me a break. Like, not even the fact they have one live musician on the thing. Like, I mean, I don't know, or put a YouTube video on the TV here and we're gonna sing to it. Like, it's karaoke. It's basically glorified karaoke.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. No,
wow.
they had that on Harmony, and Caleb and I walked out after about 5 minutes. We were just like, eh. But
Yeah.
and that's in that sense, when it comes to that particular show, because as you said, Intense on Wonder, which is the AquaTheater show, one of the best AquaTheater shows throughout the Oasis class, one of, if not the best show. But then again, you have this complete opposite end of the spectrum here is, this show Voices. Whatever happened to the production shows? I know they still do them on the Icons. I think the Oasis and Allure still have Cats, and I think it's Cats and Mamma Mia, respectively, for Oasis and Allure there. But they got rid of Grease on Harmony. They got rid of Hairspray
Yep.
on Symphony. Wonder, I can't even remember what Wonder was. And they just never even put anything on Utopia in the first place. So, I kind of miss having those bigger production shows. I know that takes a lot more talent, but, we're paying high dollar for these Royal Caribbean cruises. Why are we getting like half-baked, knockoff karaoke type of shows when, historically we've been getting things like Grease, Hairspray, all the way, of course we expect that now of, the icons with Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Wizard of Oz, Back to the Future, things like that, because those are all incredible shows. But they kind of just took them out of the Oasis class and said sorry.
Oasis back in the day, this is a staple of my childhood. I remember I was on Oasis probably about 2 times when I was a kid. 7-night cruise. And if you're not familiar how 7-night cruises work, typically those cruises are longer, so they have those cheap filler shows just to keep you entertained throughout, because there's a show every night.
Yeah.
But they had this production show. It wasn't they had Cats, right? But they also had Come
Which is terrible,
Fly
by
with
the way.
Me.
It's
Yeah,
not
so
it's not a Royal Caribbean problem. It's just Cats in general is just terrible.
It's a yawn fest. That is a yawn fest right there. But they had this original production show called Come Fly With Me, and it was one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life. The amount of props and sets, and it was unbelievable. Like, that's what I'm like, wow, I'm proud of. On Wonder, they have effectors too, which is, it's okay. It has a little bit of props, I will say that. That's kind of nice, but
Yeah.
it's like it's an okay show. I mean, it's cool if you, I guess, followed the story from the Spectrum. I think is the other ship it's on. The first one, it's okay. I mean, that's probably what the best show they have in the main theater. They have some. I don't know if Wonder has it or Utopia. They have this like drum show. Did you see that one too?
I don't know actually.
It's like
I'm not
show
too
where they do a
sure.
drum. It's like it's you've been at Universal and they have like that
Oh, the Blue Man Group.
scaffolding. Yeah, it's like that. It's not the Blue Man Group, but on Universal in the parks, they have
Yeah.
this like scaffolding and they play on the drums. It's kind of
Okay.
like that. I mean,
Okay.
that's again, there was no show in the main theater. I was like, I gotta go back and watch it. The Aqua
Yes.
show, I would be lying if I said I didn't sneak a peek of the show. I mean, I didn't sit there and
Yeah.
watch the whole thing, but I did definitely enjoy a good bit of the show. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Intense is
Ice
one
show
of
is
the
good
best Aqua
too.
shows.
Yeah, I'm gonna look that up right now. I forget what the Wonder of the Seas ice show. I forget which one that is. It was good when I saw
Yes.
it.
Oh, you saw
Wonder
it
of the
this
Seas.
this particular cruise though?
No, this cruise I didn't see any of the shows 'cause I've seen all of them already.
Ah, I see. 'Cause
looking at-
yeah, like you said, this is round 3 for you on this particular ship.
Right.
But yeah, I mean it's funny though because my cat's trying to like paw at the microphone on my chest right now. But you've got things like Intense, the AquaTheater show, absolutely amazing. Again, one of the best. The ice skating shows typically don't disappoint. It's just that one little Royal Theater show that was kind of just like, why is this here?
Exactly. That was the thing, like typically as we talked about earlier, the fact that the cruise lines would have those filler shows, but they wouldn't market it like it was a full-fledged Royal Caribbean production. Like it would just be oh yeah, come watch this show, this is going to keep
Right.
you entertained in the middle of the cruise when nothing's going on. By the way, the ice show is 365. That's a good show. It's about the seasons, and
yes.
that's a good show.
Yes, I remember that
Utopia, that's a good one too. That's one of their newer ones.
Utopia's is good.
Yeah, which is called Utopia, which is kind of funny.
It is
So
actually.
iconic.
You're right.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I thought. I thought Wonder was like wonderful show. No, it's 365.
Gotcha.
Which, again, so that's kind of recaps entertainment. Unfortunately, I missed the quest and I missed the Red Nightclub because I thought it was like on the sea day because typically
Okay.
that's when it would be, but it was not. It was like the first day of the cruise, and I was like, oh. When I went to the app to see,
Yeah.
it must be tonight, right? No, I missed it. So fortunately, I didn't see that on the cruise, but that's always a good time. So there's definitely a lot of things to do on the ship.
Yeah.
So in terms of entertainment, I give it higher ratings. Flow Rider, it's okay. I mean, it's not my favorite Flow Rider in the fleet, but that's a little nerd details for everyone who's watching this sakes. We'll
He's
go
very
ahead and give it a.
particular about these Flow Rider
very-
machines.
I am, and the way
Very
they ran
particular.
too. Very, very picky. I've only
He
been
brings-
doing it since 2017 or 16, so
Tyler's the
only
guy that
10
shows up
years.
with his own board. Just to preface
it's true. I do
that.
have my own board. Yes,
He
it's
shows
true.
up with
It's
his
me.
own board.
That's me. That's me.
But that is cool though. I wish I used to always like the Flow Rider. I'm just not good at it, so I've never really gone back to it recently at all.
I haven't. I've been in the past few years, I've been very few and far between with cruises, and I thought I would lose it. Nope. It's like riding a bike, man. It's like, get out there, do.
Right.
Okay, give me my blue band that shows that I'm certified in the Flow Rider.
Nice.
And It's funny though. Yeah. So for entertainment wise, we'll go ahead and give it a 8.
8 out of 10. All right.
Yes, we would have gave it higher, but that silly show, Voices.
That's okay.
Fortunately, they were losing points. All right,
Yeah.
Brandon. Moving along. What else do we got, bud?
We touched on it a little bit earlier by going over the preview, just like the kind of overall scope of the cruise itself, but ports. Let's talk about the ports. I know it's Nassau and
Yes.
Coco, like you mentioned. So, kind of briefly, we can go over what you did again and just like what you thought of the ports in itself. Is it same old, the same thing for the 20th time over in Coco Cay? And then is Nassau still the kind of like, you don't really care to go type of thing, or is it actually nice now?
Yeah, I will say this. Like, I love Nassau now, and I love Coco, and it's not because like Nassau has drastically changed. I mean, the port itself, that's why I like it. That's why I give it high
Mhm.
ratings. But it's just a fact that like it's so routine that like it's kind of feels like home. It's like a homey feeling.
It
Okay, like
does.
it does, right? We go to
Yeah.
Coco so much, we go to this area in the Bahamas. It feels like an
Yeah.
extension of like home because we spend so much time on these ships. Like that stretch of water too, which I find so funny. It feels so
Yeah.
like I was on a cruise out of Galveston on the Mariner, and that felt totally different, right? Just the feeling that I'm
Yeah.
on new water. To Cozumel, I've been to Cozumel in like 6 years prior to
Oh,
that, and
wow.
yeah, I mean, it was shocking, but like Nassau and Coco, I feel like I go there almost every year, so it's like
Hmm.
coming home. So
Yeah.
I love that. So for the port ratings, we're gonna give it a 10. Like, okay, I love it. Like,
10? Okay.
how are you gonna go wrong? I mean, like Nassau, especially if you're on Royal Caribbean, you got the beach club, so you can't complain and say there's nothing to
Yeah.
do because there's the beach club, and you don't have to interact with any of like the actual like locals and get
Yeah.
harassed. So Coco is amazing. There's nothing to complain about Coco. If
Hmm.
you complain and say Coco is terrible, what the pool party was too loud, or or too many. I don't know. What do you complain about Coco K, Brandon? Like,
Yeah.
there's too many people, but yeah, but at the same time, there's so much to do. So
There's a
I
lot
don't
to
know.
do. There's a lot to do in a small amount of space. As somebody that, I recently was in Great Stirrup Key, and I know they're doing a lot of big revamps to Great Stirrup Key, which is going to be a very, very fun comparison to see these two islands when it's fully done. There's a lot of things that I liked about Great Stirrup a lot more than Coco, but at the same time, Coco is definitely um, it's definitely a lot more compact in there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You don't need, something the size of, the island can't be like the size of Florida, basically. It's just it's a small little private island. You can't expect too much from it. But, the water park is always really cool, but it does come at a pretty hefty price. You can grab one of the cabanas. Those are pretty hefty price. Or you can but then you also have the option of just going to the Oasis Lagoon and just sitting in a free pool all day. It's going to be a little crowded, but it is free of charge. You don't have to go to it. Or you could just go to the beach, walk in through the sand, walk in the water, hang out, or you can get your own private beach access. So they give you a lot of different options. A lot of the options come at an extra cost, and usually the costs are pretty hefty in Coco, at least in my personal opinion. But then at the same time, in contrast to that, is that you don't have to pay that. Like, you could just have a typical relaxing beach day, just like you would in any other private island, free of charge.
And that's what I will say, Brandon. This is what I tell people. I'm like, you can go to Coco Cay and not spend a single dollar and still have a perfect day. What I mean by that is to the point, as you said, you can go to the Oasis Lagoon pool. That's why the only biggest complaint is there was not, we had that issue. Finding a chair, especially you come
Mhm.
around like 10, 11, you weren't first thing off the ship, was a little bit of a challenge, but we eventually found some. So
Yeah,
that's probably about it. I mean, that we had two Oasis Class ships, so it's again. I
yeah,
mean, if you're with the Utopia and the Adventure, or the Utopia and the Jewel, you ain't gonna have that issue.
yeah.
So again, I love Coco for the fact that you can still go and have a great meal too. Great food on the island
Chicken
and all
sandwiches,
that stuff.
mozzarella sticks, Bahamian delicacy. Fantastic. Try them out.
The Snack Shack. What we need
Snack
one of
Shack.
those here in Port Canaveral. I'll go there right away.
If they put one of those just on the ships, dude, I'd be on them every weekend. My
No,
bank account
legit.
would be
I said that. I
drained.
said that.
Yeah.
That's like one of the speaking of food, that's one of the differences I think that is I should have mentioned earlier that I love about the Utopia versus the Wonder is like one of the improvements they add that little food truck. The food from the food truck on the Utopia isn't wow, this isn't Snack Shack
Yeah.
level. It's kind of like but it's nice though because you can
Yeah.
because I've been many times at the pool deck where I'm about to taking a break from the hot tub or something. I'm like I want a quick bite to eat, but I don't want a local fresh, and I don't really want to go to like the Windjammer. So I just want
Mhm.
something quick to scarf
Yeah.
down and give me that energy to keep going out there on the pool deck. So
Yeah.
that's kind of one of the differences versus like on the ships. So that's kind of the thing too. We should
Yeah.
definitely have a conversation in the future and another episode of the Cruising is Life podcast about the differences between the Wonder and Utopia because
I do
some
like that.
cruisers have that question. They're like,
Mhm.
why on earth should I go on the Utopia and pay a little bit more when I can go on the Wonder? Well, there's differences to each ship. So,
So stay tuned for
anyhow,
next week's episode.
maybe you never know, folks. You never know.
But yeah, to your point though, I do like the off subject there with Utopia, with the
course.
little food truck there. Is I like that it's there. I just don't like the options. I love the concept. Just wish they had cooler options. It's just like, which some people like that. They're like salads, wraps, things like that. To my knowledge, I think is what it is, or like like small little sandwiches, things like that. I wish it was more of the chicken sandwich, mozzarella stick, brownies, that type of thing you can get at the Snack Shack. I think that's a better fit for the food truck than, the crunch wraps that you would
I
get.
agree. That's as what I said, Brandon. Right?
Yeah.
That I wish the food was different. It's not wow, this is great, but it's
Mhm.
like, hey, this isn't terrible. But yeah, if they added like a burger, like Shack Burger or like the Shack Crispy Chicken, oh my word, man, I would be getting a lot heavier when I get off the ship than
Absolutely.
if that
Absolutely.
wasn't there.
My work
But
pants are pretty tight this week after getting off of Harmony, I can tell you that.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm glad there's a flow rider that keeps me working out, moving and
Yeah.
grooving. If not, man, woo, I have to get a
Um,
little wheelchair to push me off some of those cruises.
But back to what you mentioned earlier about the Oasis Lagoon pool. Yeah, we did spend a good amount of time. That is one thing I will give Norwegian and Great Stirrup Key a little bit of an edge on, is that it was only Luna when I was there last, which is only one single ship, but it is one of their larger ones still. But even then, even with Luna, it only being Luna there, their pool it feels at least significantly larger. And there's also, there's a swim up bar on opposite ends. It's not located in the center and not where everybody's congregating at. Everything is spread out there. So that's one advantage I will give Norwegian a little bit of an edge to with Great Stirrup, is just things are a little bit more spread out. So you're not climbing on top of people trying to get to the bar. The pool seems pretty large, and of course, just hundreds and hundreds of chairs. I mean, we got off. We were one of the last tender, or not one of the last tenders, but we were probably 7 or 8th group off the ship. So there was quite a few people already into the island, maybe 1,000 or so people already out on the island, and we had zero problem grabbing a chair right by the water too. So that is one thing. Sometimes it can get a little packed in Coco Cay, but other than that, that's really the only issue. But again, we had 2 Oasis Class ships there that day.
Right. I mean, the only other bigger you can get is 2 Icon, and that's not happening in the near future. So, I mean, that's like, again, I mean, Coco is handled so well. I would love to check out, like, speaking of Norwegian, I would love to check out that island. They look like they've done an absolutely incredible job to it.
Mhm.
They're definitely playing catch up in terms of, like, they're 6 years behind, but hey, like, good for them for finally getting it done. I mean, that lazy river looks pretty cool. So maybe me and you will have to get on a cruise to Great Stirrup Cay pretty soon.
Connect with me after the podcast. I'm trying to persuade, quote unquote, Caleb into going on Joy Thanksgiving weekend, and I might make it happen. But
Let's do it, dude. Let's
just
do it.
solely one, I really want to go on Joy, but at the same time, I just want to try out that water park. That tower, supposedly, if my Google search is correct, that tower in Great Stirrup Cay is bigger than the one in Coco. It's taller than Daredevil's Peak by like a good 50 feet.
Right.
Which
That's
is
what
insane.
I yeah, that's kind of what, has to be done, right? Because
Hmm.
not to change the subject of this podcast, but you
Hmm.
have to mention it, right? That if Norwegian was to spend any money redoing Great Syrup with cocoa, they have to one up them because
They have
how
the
are you going
space
to market?
advantage.
Yeah,
There is
how are you
not
going to
enough
market
space
it
for
though?
a lazy river in Coco Cay. As much as I would
No.
love one, there is not space for it. This lazy river is huge. 19 different water slides. All this. Maybe that's another podcast topic as well. Is now that Great Stirrup Key is almost fully back online. Is it better than Coco? Well, that's a topic for
Yeah,
a different day.
I mean,
But
yeah, of course.
Norwegian's been winning my heart a lot lately. But I am very loyal and love my Royal Caribbean cruises though. So,
Yeah, absolutely. All
but
right, moving
anyways,
back on subject here. What's our next category? We talked about the destinations. We gave it a 10 because, I mean, you can't beat Coco,
you
you
can't
can't
beat
beat
it.
Nassau nowadays. So, what's next, Mr. Brandon?
Moving on is the room. What type of room did you have? How was the room? Was the
Ooh.
room steward any good, or did they never show up?
I will give you a rating right off the bat. Number 9. Put me down for a
Number
9.
9. All right,
We
that's a
had
solid score.
we had a very standard, not a spacious, just a standard ocean view balcony, and it was
Okay.
great. It was great. Front of the ship. I don't like being in the front of the ship, but it seems like nowadays, the past 2 cruises we've been in the front, it's kind of an inconvenience because everything I like doing, I'm sure you can kind of figure this out too, right? That mostly everything you also like is in the back of the ship, like the dining rooms,
Yeah.
typically the buffet, everything's in the back. So it's kind of an inconvenience being in the front, but we were on deck 8, which worked out great because we were able to walk right through Central Park, and the room itself was really great. There was no major
Awesome.
complaints. The beds were nice. There was like one complaint, so I ended up giving it a 10. Some of the sheets were a little stained, but I mean, it's not. You can't
That's a
blame the room
problem.
steward for that. Yeah, I mean,
That's a
come on.
problem.
Well, they weren't stained. The fact that they were like discolored, like it's like
Okay. Just old
what I'm talking
sheets.
about. If they're
Yeah.
white, like you can't keep something white forever, So
Yeah.
yeah, it wasn't. It
But they
wasn't like there
fixed.
was blood on the.
I'm
Yeah,
assuming they
yeah.
replaced the sheets if you said something.
They
I'm
did. They
assuming.
did. I
Okay.
said
Good.
something, and they're like, "Oh
All
yeah,
right.
no worries." They're trying to make a big deal about it, and I was like, "No, no, no. They're
Yeah.
white sheets, so they're not going to be perfectly white. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you could tell
It's
they
okay.
went through the washer too many times." That was probably the only big complaint with the room. Everything else was
Yeah.
spot on. The cabin steward was phenomenal. Made sure our beds were separated. Came in during our time too. Some of us, I had to work on the cruise, so I had to be in the cabin a little bit more.
Okay.
And that worked out great. Like the fact that she was very accommodating with our schedule, typically because we would be gone typically only for meals, and it would work
Hmm.
out great. Come back and the room is made, cleaned, and all that stuff. And to be honest, Brandon, I know this is like kind of like a first world problems thing, but I don't really care for cabin turn down every day. Like, I don't need it like every single
Hmm.
day. Like it's nice to have getting new towels and stuff, but
Hmm.
I've been to some hotels where they don't come clean your room for like 3 days, and it's okay. I don't have like I'm not like,
Yeah.
oh man, my bed needs to get made. Like it's okay, man.
As long as I have fresh towels, like that's really all I would care too much
Agreed.
about. It is always nice having like fresh sheets and everything like that every day. But I guess if we're gonna be super minimalist there, I mean, as long as I get a fresh towel, I'm usually good to go. Especially if it's only
Absolutely.
like a 3 or a 4 night cruise. Like I'm not that dirty to where my bed sheets are gonna be nasty after a day.
Do you remember, Brandon, when Royal Caribbean said we're going to, I think most cruise lines on this, when they said we're going to cut back from 2 times a day
Hmm.
room service to only 1 time? Remember that? Remember
People
when people
rioted.
had, and oh my, you would have thought they said, okay, we're not cleaning your room at all the cruise. You're going to have to make your own sheets. We're going to give you the towels,
Hmm.
and you're going to have to do it all yourself. You would have
Laundry
thought that was
yourself.
what they said. It was
Yeah.
crazy. And now look at it now. You don't hear anyone griping. Oh, they only make
Yeah.
my bed once a day. Oh,
Yeah.
I thought that
As
was
long
fun.
as it's once a day, I'm usually cool. Two a day, was it nice? Yeah, probably a little bit overkill, but overall, it's whatever.
Right.
But very solid room with the spacious, or no, not the spacious ocean view balcony. It's just a regular one.
Just the
But it's
regular
funny.
one.
You mentioned the convenience of being in the back of the ship. It's funny because I've now sailed on all 6 of the Oasis Class ships, which is really fun to say now. But I have 5 out of the 6, And really, out of like every time I've sailed on an Oasis class ship, not even because I've sailed on Oasis twice now. Sailed on Oasis twice, and Wonder and in Utopia both twice. I think other than an inside on Oasis the second time, which was only a 3-night, and Allure with a Central Park balcony, I have had a boardwalk balcony just about every single time I've been on an Oasis class, so I'm always in the back of the ship, which is kind of funny. But so I've never really had too many of like being forward or like staying in a forward cabin on that class too much, other than Allure.
Yeah, I mean, I've done my fair share, and seem like the past cruises been in the forward, but like I've done a lot in the back too. And again, I'm also curious. Back to your question, what Oasis class ship have you not done? You said you've done everyone, but what are you missing?
No, I now Harmony was the last one,
Oh,
and
you've
I
done.
just did
Okay,
it.
okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was specifically why I picked to sail on Harmony last week, was because she was coming back to Canaveral, and I hadn't sailed. Even without the renovations, I would have still booked it. Like, I was just ready to go, and the Oasis class means a lot to me. It's the reason I'm here today is those ships. So being able to say like I've been on all of them, I plan on going on 7 in 2028.
That's right.
Looking forward to that one as well. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I've sailed on all of them pretty much.
I've also, like you, Brandon, been on all 6 of them. 7, yeah, 6. Yes.
With an asterisk there.
Yeah.
Somebody was a pilot on Symphony.
Yeah.
But I guess he counts.
Well, okay. Yeah, technically speaking, but yeah, whatever. They're all the same.
There's a little asterisk there, but it's fine.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Anywho, long story short here, I love like the evolution of the Oasis class. I still find love in each of the different ones, like the Oasis and Allure. Like when we went on it back in 2024, 3, great
Allure
ship.
was 23,
like, I mean, yeah, 23, man. That was great. And like the fact that they redid the ship now, and I mean, I sort of loved that ship back in 2023. Harmony, the same thing. I think Harmony was a great ship when I sailed her back in 2019. Can't wait to go on her again with the little tweaks they added to her. Wonder and Utopia. This is something I'm going to say. I used to not be a fan of the Wonder of the Seas. Like I've been on the Wonder now for a total of 18 nights, and I was on 2 7-night sailings about a year apart from each other, and I was not a fan of the Wonder. I went on these ships and was like, this ship ran terribly. Ship itself was okay. It's an Oasis class ship. You can't beat it. But I was like, I'm not doing the Wonder again. Like, I'm not doing it again. No.
Yeah.
I was impressed. I gave it one more shot. My best friend was working on the ship, and I was like, I'll give it one more shot. And I was impressed. They turned things around. Also could be because it's not doing the 7 nights. There's a different crowd, different the way things are ran. But I had a fantastic time on the Wonder, and I would definitely do it again. I would say in a heartbeat because it's from Miami, so I wouldn't say a heartbeat, but I would do it again. If the right cards were dealt, I would definitely hop back on the Wonder.
Yeah, I agree. I would love to sail in her more. It's funny, when you were saying like you didn't like it originally, but then you were like, but at the end of the day, it's still an Oasis class. I was, the first thing that came to my head was like, my steak is too juicy type of complaint. You know what I mean? My steak is too juicy. Oh no. But yeah, I mean, those Oasis class ships in general are just really good. Honestly, I think after sailing in Harmony, especially with the upgrades, I think Harmony might be my favorite, to be honest. But I do love the Wonder from the few times that I've been on it, and
I would
maybe
have
slightly
said
more than Utopia, but I agree.
I would have said the same thing, Brandon. Back in the day, like prior to the Utopia, like Utopia is starting to change. Like I won Utopia, like I was like, nah, this isn't it. The Harmony is my favorite. Like it is like I think it was the best. But now I'm like, okay, I like the Utopia, especially it's on the shorter cruises. Now on a 7-night cruise, I think I'll still be leaning towards the Harmony. But it's also because I like 2 flow riders. Again, as you said, it's like the steak.
Steak's too juicy.
Yeah. The steak is it's not cooked right. Yeah, I mean, like exactly. Little complaints here that. Again, only us cruise news, the cruise junkie would care about. Only him would care about. Yeah.
Absolutely. And before we transition off to our next category here, second to last one, I just want to give a big thank you and welcome to our Platinum memberships. Family Guy 1464, we have our new member here. Welcome to the membership. Thank you so much. You are much appreciated. And all of our members here in the chat that are watching us live this afternoon or this evening, thank you all so much for your support of the channel. And you guys are very much appreciated. But moving on to our second to last category here is the ship spotting. This is just our nerd category.
Oh, yeah.
Any really cool ships that you got to see? And of course, I know this is the one thing that I have against the Wonder and Utopia is just because the glass, on the edge of the ship, like for the railings, is like, you gotta be like shack height in order to see over it. So that's why I am like kind of iffy on them. But if that's my only complaint, then it's a pretty good ship. But, what was the ship spotting like on the ship? And did you see anything cool while you were on there?
Fortunately not, in terms of things being cool, and as you said, it's kind of a pain in the butt to film. That's why I didn't get up every morning to see us arrive and to see us, like for Coco and Nassau. I didn't get up because I was like, how am I going to film? I mean, it's like you have to, hold your hands way up over the glass. And like when we left Coco and I was out there filming, and I went to the back of the ship to film, which for us it worked out because we had to back and turn. But I mean, like, there's another spot I found on deck 5 where the jogging track is. There's a cutout. That spot's pretty cool. But like, if that's
Slightly
like the best
obstructed,
spot
but
on the
good.
ship, yeah. I mean, it's like, where else are you gonna go watch the ship though? Where or the stuff go by without? So that's probably that gets a really low rating. I'll give it a 5. Like it's pretty terrible. And the other thing too, the ships. We didn't see anything in terms of ships. Like we saw
nothing good in Nassau.
Nassau wasn't. We saw Celebrity Reflection, which is on the 4-night run. We saw the Norwegian Getaway, which is also on the Miami 4-night run.
That's cool.
We saw Carnival Sun. We saw not the Charleston ship, the Norfolk ship for Carnival. The
Sunshine?
Yes, we saw Sunshine.
That's actually
so that was a
really
little bit cool.
That one is
And we
cool.
saw
She's kind of an old lady now, but it is cool.
Exactly.
It is cool to see.
We saw the Carnival Dream too.
Historic piece now.
It is. She's going for her dry dock, right? Which we know we talked about before. It's kind of like, hey, she's still going to be around, but from what we hear, she's still going to be in the Carnival fleet for a good bit of time.
Kicking. Yep.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked about that. But yeah, I mean, Sunshine's kind of like a historic piece at this point, which is so funny to say. But like anytime I get to see that one, is it something I would probably book? Probably not. I've already sailed on it twice, but I probably would not go on it, given its age. But it is cool to see it because it's not really here in Florida ever, or it's been a long time since she's been here in Florida, but she's in the Bahamas sailing out of Norfolk. So don't really get to see her that often due to scheduling and stuff like that. So it's kind of cool when something like that shows up. You did get to see the newly renovated Harmony of the Seas, though, so that's pretty cool.
We did with Mr. Brandon Barker and Caleb Cruise Ship Media.
Your 5 is a little critical, I might say, but we can go with your 5.
Yeah, again, like, I hate to be the bearer, but like Nassau, we saw also Carnival Dream was there, but Carnival Dream, like, I don't know, I used to
some of
live
these
in
ships, I would have given it like an 8.
Okay, well, we'll, can we change the score? We'll change it to a 7. I don't know.
A 7? Okay.
We'll change it to a 7. Put it down for a 7. Change it to a 7. My apologies to the folks, but I know it's like my steak is too juicy. I've already seen this ship too many times.
Yeah.
Miami is pretty basic for the Monday and Friday. You basically have the Carnival Conquest, the Norwegian ship, and the Wonder. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
For Friday. Like, it wasn't anything, wow, this is a lot of great ships. Oh, and MSC. Yeah. They had the MSC. Seaside.
Our next review.
Yes.
Our next review. Caleb and I still haven't done that from May. We still got to review that one.
You guys are behind. You guys got a lot of things to do.
I know. We're going to get this podcast back up and running on its feet here in the next couple of weeks.
Yes.
So stay tuned. We got a lot of them coming. But with that, we will lead into our final category of the day, which is debarkation, the worst day of the cruise. How was it? Was it easy? Did it suck? Well, it's always going to suck because you have to get off the ship, but how was it?
It wasn't too bad. It wasn't bad at all. It was quick to a point. Terminal A is great in terms of the terminal experience. Nothing to complain there. Getting off the ship, it took a little bit longer than like Utopia did. And again, this is comparing apple to oranges. Like,
right.
a sister ship to ports. I mean, it took us like 10 minutes from the time we left our cabin to the time we got off, not to the curb, but to the time we got off the ship. There was a bottleneck. People not understanding they have to take their sea pass out, not understanding they have to take their hat off when you go by the security guard, and just little things like that made a big bottleneck. But I ended up, very last minute, packing my bags at 6:45 and getting off the ship at 7. And then we went ahead and got an Uber because Uber would have took too long, and the person I was traveling with was worried that we would miss the train, so we ended up taking a taxi, which was extra money. But we'll get to that in a second. It probably took us in general by the time we left our room to the time we got to the curb, probably about 30 minutes, which is on the longer side. But once we got off the ship, we didn't stop walking, which was a typical trend with any of the cruises now with the facial recognition, which is a game changer. That is the way to go. I can't believe we did it back in the day with no technology, no AI. Oh my word, I can't imagine. We used to go back and they used to open your book and they used to ask you a conversation.
Yeah.
Glad that's over. In the past.
Yeah. And that's good too that it's gotten so quick and easy and simple. I've always said a bad debarkation day can ruin the entire cruise. As much as it sucks to get off the ship, but that's your last impression. So if something happens right at the very end of the cruise, that's what you're most likely to remember because it's the last thing you did. So if, something happened in line, or, just some sort of problem or anything like that, that's what you're going to remember about the cruise is that, oh yeah, like, this lady next to me or this, the worker there was, rude to me or, the line was just, it took an hour to get off the ship, things like that. So, that can kind of leave a sour taste in the mouth. So it's always good. But I do think Royal, like you mentioned, does have one of the best debarkation processes and smoothest. Like you mentioned, at least with Harmony, is that Caleb and I slept through 6 alarms. We were supposed to wake up at 5:30. We woke up at 7:02. We woke up at 7:02. We were at the car by 7:20. That's how quick it was for Port Canaveral. We'll go more into detail on that in the Harmony review coming up. But what a wild morning that was. But we love Royal for keeping it quick and simple like that.
Yep. I've done that 3-night cruise many times where, we had a early morning or whatever, and I just take a quick nap, and then, oh shoot, we have to go. I didn't pack my bag, put everything in, no, I mean, I've got everything down to a science now on these shorter cruises, man. It's not even a funny,
Yeah.
I tell you.
Back in time for work on Monday.
Good point. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is crazy. Now, this cruise, you couldn't make it back to work in Orlando because you had to take the train. That, in general,
work from the Bright Line.
kind of... Yes.
That's what I'm doing on Legend.
Yeah, I mean, you can. The Starlink was fast. I mean, as long as you have to download anything or upload anything, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
It's pretty slow in terms of downloading videos files, but we're getting ahead of ourselves here. So saying our story here, taxi to the Bright Line station was about $25, pretty pricey compared to Uber, which was $10. It's a really short, it's 5-minute drive. So that's a tip too. Maybe wait for an Uber if you want to save some money. Bright Line train was about 5 hours to Orlando. I think by the time it was about 3-hour drive, a 3-hour train trip, and then an hour at the terminal, and then about 5 hours till I got home. So, again, no major complaints there. Debarkation. Did I give you a number already?
Not yet, but let's hear that score.
Okay. All right. So for debarkation, I am going to give it a 9.
Very, very nice. So with that, if you want to go ahead and give your closing statements, closing thoughts on the ship, any additional details you want the chat or listeners and viewers to know about, while you do that, I will be tallying up our score this evening.
All right. While Brandon is tallying up my score, again, the biggest thing is I had a great time on the ship. It's hard not to have a good time on a cruise, and it was absolutely a good time. Now, one thing I will say about the Wonder doing this shorter cruise, you could definitely tell, as I mentioned earlier, how everyone on the ship is kind of out of it. They're just kind of just, versus there's a difference. Like on Utopia, there was definitely a little bit of that, which again, not something I give them points off in our rating system for, but in general, this was a great cruise. I have some videos coming out to my channel. Shameless plug, I know, but I do have some videos coming soon, Friday, so I know I have to kind of promote it because people have to watch the videos. So yeah, go ahead, check out the cruise vlog series. You got this one this Friday showing the boarding process, where I'll go into the bright line details. I'll show you some video footage, and then we have Brandon's favorite video, which features him this Friday. So that's a shameless plug. So go ahead and check that out on youtube.com/The Tyler Show. That's a plug. There you go. So Brandon, do we have a score?
We absolutely do, and I'm happy to
Oh,
report
boy.
that Wonder of the Seas is officially number 2 in our rankings for the year of our 2026 ship reviews. And so this is now our 6th ship of 2026 that we have reviewed, and this is our number 2, giving us a Wonder of the Seas review score of 87 out of 100. So our scales are pretty tough to get 90s. We've only got one ship that has ever done that. So an 87 is an absolutely awesome and phenomenal score for our review. Can't talk today. Our review scales here. So love to see it. That's an amazing score for the Wonder of the Seas. So I love to see it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that was weird.
You got to throw a few tricks in this stream.
I gotta love it. Gotta love it. But yes, this was a fantastic review. Glad to hear that you had a fantastic time, and it sounds like a lot of the people coming on or going on Wonder of the Seas very soon will be having a fantastic time as well. Thanks for your time. Thanks for hanging out with me tonight and chatting it up. And stay tuned. Tyler's going to be back more often. These podcasts are going to be back more often. And glad to have you guys here. And
yeah, we appreciate everyone joining us.
Absolutely. So with that, thank you all for listening, watching wherever you may be, whether it was here live on YouTube or watching later on YouTube, Spotify, listening on the podcast, or Apple Podcasts. Thank you all for hanging out, and we'll see you guys in our next podcast episode. Have a great night. Bye, everyone.